Hello, this morning I'm going to show you a very simple way of making some cheese scones. Everybody in the northeast seems to love cheese scones, so this is what I'm going to do this morning. So I've got all my ingredients ready, and the recipe is from the Biro book, which is an old-fashioned book, but actually this is where a lot of people start to learn to bake, and it's $2.99 from Biro.com. So it's got lots of recipes in here, easy, simple ones. With the cheese scone recipe, I've just added a few extra things, like these herbs from the garden. So we have thyme, rosemary and chives. So that's my extra little touch to it. So we start, I've got all the measurements out here. I've got self-raising flour, I've got the grated cheese ready, and margarine, eggs and what have you. So I'll tell you the measurements as I go along, but first of all I'm going to get the herbs and chop them up. Okay, so I've got the herbs chopped up, and you don't have to use fresh ones if you haven't got fresh ones in your garden. You can just buy a little packet of mixed herbs, mixed dried herbs, and just put a spoonful of those in and you'll have the same effect. So here I've got the herbs finely chopped, very finely chopped, and here I'm making double the recipe today. So I've got 12 ounces of self-raising flour. So I'm going to put a level teaspoonful of salt, and I'm going to put some pepper in. We like them quite spicy, so I'm going to put a lot of pepper in. I'm going to put a spoonful of dried mustard in as well. And these things all just give it a nice kick. So at this point, I'm just going to mix this up. Then I'm going to rub in some margarine. I measured out 2 ounces of margarine. You can use butter or margarine, whatever you prefer. I'm just going to, this is the part where you just rub it in very gently with your fingertips. You don't get it right up your hands, you just do with fingertips, lifting it gently out the bowl so that all the air can get in, and this is what helps it to rise. So I'm rubbing this margarine in very, very gently, and you just keep doing this until it's all disappeared and you've got very, very fine breadcrumbs. I've set the oven ready on 220 centigrade, so that's getting nice and hot, and I've greased the tray. And now, while that's getting ready, I'm going to add in these lovely finely chopped herbs. I'm just going to stir that into the flour. Those in nicely to distribute them well, and then I'm going to add in most of the cheese, but not all of it, because we want to keep some back for the tops. Stir that in. There's 6 ounces of cheese here, and I've used very strong cheddar because we want them to have a real punch about them. So here I've got 2 beaten eggs with 4 tablespoons of milk, just beaten together. And what I'm going to do now is just get my knife and just put a little bit in at a time, because if you put too much in, it'll go too wet and you'll not be able to roll it out. So just put a little bit in at a time, and we don't want to use all of it because we want to keep some back for the tops. So you're almost cutting and stirring at the same time. Egg mixture, and just keep trying to fold it in from the sides. Sort of, if you think the egg mixture is going down too quickly, just add a little bit more milk. this is how you want it. It's really coming together now. There's just a few little crumbs at the bottom. You want it all mixed in. But it's really crucial that you don't put in too much, because otherwise you'll never be able to get it rolled out. So it's got to be stiff at the same time as everything's got to be right now. Now it looks like it's almost there, but not quite. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to gather the rest up by hand. I'm going to put some flour. This is still using self-raising flour. I'm going to put some on the bench. I'm going to put some on my hands to gather this up. And you just have to be quite quick, because you don't want to be handling pastry and scone mixtures and things like this too much, because otherwise it'll get hot, and we don't want it to get hot. We don't want to waste any. There we go. And gather it all up. And we want to put it, get all the little bits, and you've got to work quite quickly at this stage, like I say, so that it doesn't become too warm. So, and keep flouring your board. That's really important, and your hands, because if it sticks to the bench, then that's no good. Now, some people roll it out, and they might use a scone cutter like this. And that's what I do when I'm making plain scones or fruit scones. But when I'm doing cheese scones, I like to do triangles. So I'm just pressing it out here till I get the, you want it about 1 centimetre thickness all the way around. And just keep turning it to make sure it's not sticking. That's really important. And I've more or less got that ready now, I think. So I'm going to dip my knife in here just to make sure it doesn't stick to the pastry, and cut in quickly. Do your triangles. Now, I'm just going to put that in there again. And then put them, as soon as they're done, just put them on your baking tray. Like so. Right, so with the rest of the egg and milk mixture, I've got a pastry brush, and I'm just going to brush them all over with egg and milk. It's mainly milk now, because I've had to put extra milk in. So you just get the sides and the tops done. So now they're all ready to go in the oven. I've got it all set at 220, and they're going to go in there for 10 minutes. Okay, I'm going to get the scones out now. They're just perfectly done. They were in a bit longer than 10 minutes, probably about 15, but that's because they were quite crowded on the tray. So, okay, so I'm just going to get them off the tray now and put them . As you can see, they're nicely cooked underneath, just golden brown, and they're as light as a feather.